Today's video is sponsored by Insta360. Hey everyone, Travis here, and this is the Insta360 Ace Pro, which I think might be the best action camera that I've ever seen. I've used Insta360 cameras for a while now, and I really think they're onto something in terms of their quality of their cameras. I used the Go 3 extensively and I loved it. The Go 3 checked a lot of boxes in terms of size, versatility, and use case, and when it came to checking out something that was a step up from there, I was super excited to check out this beast of a camera, which is the Ace Pro. Now, of course, in the name of this camera is Pro, and with that, you would want it to check every box that you would possibly need out of the best action cameras, and this thing does that exactly. It's got a very big sensor, it supports high frame rate and high resolution recording up to 4K 120, it has super good stabilization, and it's got great battery life. And something that's also super important for an action camera, it's waterproof up to 10 meters. So let's dive deeper into the features of the Ace Pro and why I think that this camera is the king of action cameras. First up, something that's super important for a camera that's very small is a large sensor. Now, when you're talking about a camera of this size, which is already very tiny, the smallest increase in sensor size can dramatically change image quality. The Ace Pro features a 1 by 1.3 inch sensor, which is larger than that of the GoPros, which is a 1.19 inch sensor. Now, a larger sensor, of course, does impact image quality across the board, but it does allow for better dynamic range and better color when underwater. Additionally, a larger sensor can bring in more light, which in turn would reduce the amount of ISO that you would need to use, reducing noise. Additionally, this camera was co-engineered with Leica, partnering exclusively with Insta360. Leica brings its legendary expertise in optical design and state-of-the-art imaging to this action camera, delivering spectacular visuals to any given moment. Now, another part of the Ace Pro that goes in tandem with that large sensor is the 5nm AI processing chip. This dedicated chip allows for AI denoising that works hand in hand with that large sensor to allow for things like pure video, which increases the image quality in low light conditions, allowing for much less noise than before. Now, one thing you'll notice in dark scenes while recording in pure video mode is enhanced brightness alongside better dynamic range when in dark scenes, and it's quite a big difference. It is 6:30 p.m. and it is getting darker by the minute, and it's about to rain shortly. But I wanted to test out the pure video mode outside in the dark, and honestly, the low light performance of this camera is amazing and the best that I've seen out of a camera of this size, like a GoPro. Now, a feature that I personally look for in anything where I'm trying to do any sort of high movement or action, of course, is high frame rate, and this camera can record in 4K up to 120p, and it looks fantastic. 120 frames per second, of course, would allow for much smoother slow motion. So as an example, if you were to take a 24 frames timeline and slow down 120p footage, you would get 5 times slow motion, allowing for much clearer motion. Now, two features that are in the Go 3 that also made it into the Ace Pro is the flow state stabilization and horizon lock. The flow state stabilization works like magic. I ran on top of a parking structure back and forth with stabilization on and off just to see what it would look like if I was holding the camera, and it's a dramatic difference. All right, so no stabilization. Stabilization on high. Now, horizon lock blows my mind because in post, you can choose the amount of horizon lock, whether 45 or 360 degrees. And I literally rotated the camera in a complete loop, and you can't even tell in the final image that the camera was moving. Now, another key component in an action camera being able to produce a good looking image is active HDR. HDR is high dynamic range, and what that allows for is you to be able to see bright highlights and dark shadows all in the same image. So if you were standing outside on a bright sunny day, you'd still be able to see all the clouds, you'd be able to see yourself, and let's say you were cycling in a forest area where there was dark areas, you'd be able to see all of that. So we are recording right here in 4K 24 with the stereo mic option. It rained a little bit earlier, but not anymore. And because we're in 4K 24 and not in 8K, we are getting HDR, and the dynamic range is super good. Still be able to see the bright clouds, and it's probably gonna rain again shortly, but I am still exposed as well. So we get a really clear dynamic range all the way through the image. This is gonna be super helpful if you're out like on the ocean, or if you're doing any action sports where there's a lot of bright light and a lot of dark areas, like if there's a lot of trees around and you're cycling. So this thing is actually really good in terms of video quality. Now, in terms of using the unit itself, there's basically 3 ways to interact with it. One is the awesome touchscreen, second is gesture control, and the third is voice control. Now, the touchscreen that's on the Ace Pro is a 2.4-inch touchscreen. It's very bright and vibrant, but also it completely flips backwards 180 degrees so you could see yourself and use it for vlogging, or if you're skating around, you could have a good image of yourself. So based on the way that the touchscreen flips, of course, you could have it completely folded down at 0 degrees or flip it up to 90, which would be more for regular scenes. And then if you wanted to flip it all the way to 180, you could use it to take selfies of a group, or if you wanted to vlog. And then it also is really helpful if you're trying to get a POV shot and you could flip it down. Another thing to note about this touchscreen is it does have a clarity zoom option. All you have to do is double tap, and then you get a 2 times lossless view of what you're looking at. And to get back, all you have to do is double tap again and you get your full view again. Gesture controls allows you just to raise your hand and have it take a photo or start recording, which I think is super awesome, especially if you're in a noisy environment. And it allows you to be able to do that if you're wearing a helmet or gloves. So if you're out riding a bike or an ATV or anything like that, you can have it start recording. And the voice controls are actually really responsive. You can just say, take a photo, start recording, or shut down, and it will do all of that. Taking a real quick tour around the camera itself, it's really compact. Obviously for an action cam, you have to be, but I love the flip out screen so you can see everything as you're vlogging, if you were to use it for vlogging or any sort of action sports. And the voice controls work really great. Start recording, and we're off. Hey, the voice controls actually work really good. I have this thing on the selfie stick and it's raining, so I don't want to have to readjust it. So it'll start on its own as we walk up the stairs as another test for the stabilization to see how it does. Now, of course, it's 2024, so app integration is essential, and the Insta360 app that pairs with this camera is honestly super helpful. Not only can you preview your footage, but you can utilize AI to automatically edit it for you. Now, when it comes to editing your footage, there's actually several ways you can do it. Of course, you can just plug in USB-C directly to your computer and import the footage, but you can also move the footage up using the Insta360 app, which is super convenient. And there's an AI highlight assistant that allows you to be able to save SD card space so it can pick the best highlights in camera and dump the rest. So let's go through the AI highlights feature. You can go to your playback view. It'll bring up your media, and then there's a flag at the bottom. If you go ahead and tap that, it gives you the highlights breakdown immediately. As you go through your video footage, you can see the flag down here, and depending on how many numbers there are, indicates how many highlights or events that it detected. So if I tap on here, there was one 6-second highlight that it picked out for me. Now, while using the Insta360 app, of course, it connects to your camera via Wi-Fi and you can transfer all your footage. But if you came back from shooting all day long, you're gonna have a ton of footage and you don't have to have the app open. The app can run in the background and still import your footage so you can do other stuff on your phone at the same time. Within the app, you have the Shot Lab, which offers a lot of cool themes and templates. I'm gonna go ahead and show the AI warp. You go ahead and import your footage. I'm gonna select this clip of me walking around, and it's automatically gonna allow me to select a portion, which can be 4 to 15 seconds. So I'm just gonna pick, I don't know, let's do 10. And then I can go ahead and trim that. I'm gonna select the full area, and then we can select the style from there. I'm gonna choose Cyberpunk, and then we can go ahead and make the AI video. It's going to upload to the Insta360 AI server, do its magic, and then the video is gonna be sent back to us. After a few moments, we got our clip back, so let's go ahead and review it. It's going to merge the video. Dang, that's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it went ham with that clip. You could use that, put it on social, but there's a ton of different themes and it's really cool if you just wanna make a quick clip out of something that you found to be really fun. Another feature of this camera that I think is highly underrated and a lot of people could utilize is the ability to pause a recording. And when I mean pause a recording, you can pause it, start recording again, and it's the same video file. It's not making a new file. So if I go ahead and pause it, I'm able to resume recording and pick up right where I left off in the same file. I think this is gonna save a ton of time in editing, especially because you're not gonna have to make a new clip every time. And if this is an event where you wanna move quick between different subjects, like you're vlogging and you're placing the camera, it's super helpful. For more information on the Ace Pro, check out the link down below in the description. And the first 25 people to use our link to purchase get 10% off and a free accessory. Now, there's two other features I wanted to mention that are crucial to a great action camera experience. And the ability to fast charge the battery is very important. Now, in terms of battery life, the Ace Pro can go for 100 minutes in 4K 30 with active HDR on. And if your device is low on juice, it can charge to 80% in 22 minutes and it can fully charge in 46. Last up on this list is its ability to be IPX8 waterproof, which is up to 10 meters. The Ace Pro is waterproof up to 33 feet, which of course is more than enough for standard situations. And if you want to go deeper than that, there's even a dive case option to take this camera down to 197 feet deep. Some of the other Insta360 cameras, they have a really awesome mounting system that I have attached here. This is the universal mount, and it attaches right in there with magnets, and this sucker is not going anywhere. So if you really need this to stick on, it's going to. So that's the Ace Pro by Insta360, which is honestly a phenomenal camera. The video quality is excellent, the battery life is great, and I think the feature set is perfect for any type of situation where you would need an action cam, whether that's cycling, swimming, riding an ATV, running around like I did, riding a skateboard, vlogging, you name it. This is gonna be the camera that you'll be able to use for that. If you wanna learn more, check out the link in the video description. Thank you so much to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. This is Travis, and have a good night.